Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome back to Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Daris D. McKinney, and we got some unfinished work to do on this Iran discussion. Like we went through all the pretty much the nitty gritty of it, but I do want to kind of make sure in context we wrap this up by letting you hear some of the comments that were bird's eye view and people that's in the room, like Donald Trump and Vance, and let them kind of really tell you what their overall outcome to what they're actually driving for out of the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. I kind of broke it down in the previous episode, so please watch the previous episodes and some good stuff. I did a good job on that. Um, like I said, my podcast flow is always, I'm always kind of gotta hype myself up. So we're gonna get going, but like I said, always say, we gotta play our disclaimer because there's a lot of haters that want to sue you because they don't want you to have the freedom of speech. You know what I mean? They want you to say what they want you to say and conduct yourself in manners that they want you to conduct yourself in. But as a free American, you do it the hell you want. Okay? But just in case, lawsuits start to fly, here's my disclaimer. Hey, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Ooh, yeah. You know, when you gotta walk people through the most. I had some yesterday when I had um did this. I had some people in the comments that they were like, "Oh, you pro Israel, you Trump, you Nazi." Ah, ah. And it's like, wow, man, it's not even what I'm trying to do. It's not even what I'm trying to do. But look, what are you gonna do? Everybody, the bad part about it is, the propaganda and the narrative is winning. So that's not good for um America, or it's not good for individual people. Like, for example, I was looking at um let me pull this up. Uh, like for example, one of the biggest decisions that's coming out of the Supreme Court um in the next few days is birthright citizenship. You know, and I helped away from having an opinion about this because I don't want anyone to kind of get the wrong idea that I'm not for um really good people that actually came in legally, came in the right way, and they married maybe an American citizen and they actually had a kid or something like that, and for that kid not to be um, has the rights of birthright citizenship. If one of the parents is American, of course the kids should have birthright citizenship because they're actually legal, especially if the actual person married to an actual American citizen. So it's common sense to say that that person should absolutely be granted birthright citizenship. But birthright citizenship came from American slaves coming in, and at the same time they they were under the jurisdiction of the citizen or the actual laws of America because they were here against their will. So they have to be granted the rights of American citizenship because it is pretty much theirs because they're under the jurisdiction. What's the jurisdiction of? Okay, so that's what I want to make sure. I'm gonna put that on screen. Let me make sure I put this on screen. Give me a second. Okay, for example, okay, on the 14th Amendment, it says that let me, if I can find the 14th Amendment, see if they kind of have it somewhere in the communication of all this good stuff. But I don't think they do. I think they just kind of like politically talk about it. That's why you got to know how even Wikipedia they got legitimate information on here, but it is skewed under perceptions of what they're trying to do. Okay, here's the 14th Amendment. Okay, so in the 14th Amendment, it says, all persons born and naturalized in the United States of America and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of United States of the state within their reside. No state shall make and enforce any law which shall abridge the privilege and immunity of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within the jurisdiction of the equal protections of the law. Now, the big argument is the jurisdiction of. You understand that? All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction of. That means that they're granted entry. They're actually claimed pretty much. What jurisdiction means. Okay, let's look this up. See what that means. Jurisdiction, the official power to make legal decisions and judgment. Okay? Federal courts had no jurisdiction over the case. The District of Columbia was placed under the jurisdiction of Congress. That's the examples that they said. Okay? Jurisdiction is, as of now, any area under French jurisdiction, authority, control, power, dominion, rule, administrative, command, sway, leadership, sovereignty. And it's just saying, like, pretty much that you're claimed. So if, let's say, for example, an illegal alien comes over the border, they don't, because they're here on the land, they're not jurisdiction of Arizona or New Mexico or California, because they have to be citizens of that state. Do you understand that? They have to actually become a citizen of that state. If they're in purgatory, if, let's say, like sanctuary cities, that's not technically a actual citizenship. You get what I'm saying? Only way a foreigner could come from foreign land into American territory is that they have to be granted American jurisdiction. Okay, so a state can't give that to an actual foreigner. The government of the, pretty much the federal government has to give jurisdiction to a random foreigner coming into the borders of America, because it has to have accountability of like a insurgent or something like that. You can't let random people just start coming into the country, coming from just, they only came into California, so only California knows that they're here. No, the federal government has to know they're here. Why? Because they might be a sleeper cell, or like a, let's say, how can I say, an enemy of the state. You know what I mean? They can maybe an enemy of the country, and they're kind of setting up an actual insurgent or infantry or militia inside of the country in a specific state. So that's why they must be communicated to this person, and the validity of that person must be vetted before they are given jurisdiction rights. Okay, so I say this because a lot of the things to make sure that slaves have the rights of American citizens, the 14th Amendment pretty much stated and obvious, but at the same time, because everybody was communicating about, okay, in the Constitution it says 3/4 of a man, or 3/5 of a person, or something like that, in all the rights of that was kind of messing up. If an actual slave, a black American slave, was an actual citizen with full citizen rights. So it's almost like they had to do a double law to make sure that it's not under perception or perspective. You know what I mean? That it's clear that all persons born and naturalized in I want to read this again, and forgive my reading too. All persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction of thereof, and that's what's important. Okay, the jurisdiction of, because that kind of tells you exactly, like, that this person is granted citizenship from this person is granted citizenship under the eyes of the United States of America federal government, the entity of America. You get what I'm saying? Naturalized, born in the United States, and subjected to their jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the states therein they reside. Okay, but it's gotta be because of our title. I think it's Title 8, Foreign and Illegal Immigration Process. The jurisdiction of Title 8 would be the United States of America. So they have to be granted validity of citizenship by United States federal government before they could become the jurisdiction of, no matter what state they come into and all the other stuff. So technically, when the ruling of the government of birthright citizen, it should be that if you are an, born and naturalized from an American citizen, in addition that you are here with validity paperwork as a, let's say, a green card or something like that. Even a work visa shouldn't grant you birthright citizenship. If you're here and you get pregnant, if a woman get pregnant and she's here on a work visa, that technically shouldn't give you birthright citizenship. You get what I'm saying? If it's a student visa, you birthright citizenship. But if you're married to a actual citizen and or a lady that may have a foreign lady or some foreign person has sex with a American citizen, and that person is born, that gives them right for birthright citizenship because one of their parents is an American citizen. So they don't have to be married. They could just be a person that American citizen. You don't get, because half of the child is American, got American citizenship out of birthright, and the other half don't. That makes the actual the child an American citizen. So that's how that works. But the actual person, if you're just here on a student visa and you're like the child was birthed from a foreigner, and two foreigners having a sex or something like that, and they birthed the child, that doesn't make the child a citizen. You get what I'm saying? That's how it should be ruled this week, and that's how it should be kind of, how can I say, communicated. You know what I mean? So I know we started early. I'm gonna I'm coming in to try to I'm gonna leave that at that. I'm gonna jump right back out. I will be right back in here, but I'm gonna stop this pretty earlier than I thought I would. So I gotta go do a quick run. Okay, I got a quick situation that just popped up, and I gotta do whatever it takes to make me be able to kind of keep doing this to you guys, until you guys hit that like, subscribe, and then you send some kind of support system here, $1, $2. Use the links in the bottom, do it in the comments or whatever it takes. We gotta, get our numbers up and everything like that. So I'll be back, and I just gonna come in, and I just wanted to kind of talk about that really quick, and let that be a key point that I end this actual episode on. Okay, I'll see you in a moment.